All right, welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. We're going to be exploring something pretty fascinating today. It's all about how a country's history, and especially its ancient history, can really impact its culture and its people even today.
You know, it's so true. We often think of history as this thing of the past, but it really does. It echoes through time, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're going to get into some specifics. Today, we're going to be comparing and contrasting two countries, two very distinct cultures, Mexico and the United States.
It's going to be interesting to see the different paths these two countries took and how it's reflected in their cultures today.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Mexico
with its deep roots going all the way back to incredible civilizations like the Aztecs. And then you have United States, this blend, this melting pot of different cultures and influences.
Right. Right. And in Mexico, you know, we see that ancient history so clearly just by looking at their national symbol, the eagle devouring a snake.
It's such a striking image, right? It's like, it's not just some random bird. It's got this deep connection to their past.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. Like, where does that symbol even come from?
Well, it goes all the way back to the Aztecs and their founding myth. They believed that their god, Huitzilopochtli, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, told them to search for a very specific sign, an eagle.
An eagle, okay.
Yeah, but not just any eagle. It had to be perched on a cactus and devouring a serpent.
Oh, wow. That's pretty specific. So they were looking for this very, like almost like a prophecy, kind of.
Exactly. And they believed that when they found this eagle, that's where they were supposed to build their capital city.
Which, of course, became Tenochtitlán.
Exactly. And eventually Mexico City. So you can see how that one symbol is tied to this incredibly important moment in their history, and it's still so meaningful to them today.
It's amazing how these ancient stories can still be so powerful, centuries later. But it's not just the symbols and the myths, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
There's so many living traditions in Mexican culture that are directly connected to their past. What are some of the things that come to mind when you think about that?
Well, I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is Dia de Muertos, the Day of the Dead.
Oh, yeah. Such a vibrant celebration.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a way for families to honor their deceased loved ones, but it's not like a somber occasion. It's really about joyful remembrance. They build these incredible altars. They have food and music. It's beautiful.
And the imagery, like the skeletons and the sugar skulls, it's so striking and it's so unique to that culture.
Right. And then you have all these amazing folk art traditions like the alebrijes.
Alebrijes. Those are the colorful, like, mythical creatures.
Yeah. They're these fantastical creatures, often brightly painted, made out of wood or papier-mâché, and they kind of represent this fusion of indigenous beliefs and Spanish colonial influence. It's really fascinating.
It sounds like Mexican culture has really done this amazing job of holding on to these traditions and keeping them alive, even as the country has modernized.
It really has. It's woven into the fabric of their everyday lives.
So, it's clear to see how this strong connection to a singular, powerful ancestral narrative has shaped Mexican identity. And it makes me wonder, when we think about the United States, which, as we said, is often called a melting pot, what happens when a country's identity comes from, many, many different sources? Does that make for a less clear sense of national identity?
That's a really great question. And it's something that a lot of people have debated over the years.
Yeah.
Because, on the one hand, it can be hard to define what exactly American culture is, because it is this mix of so many different influences.
Right.
But I think instead of looking at that as a weakness, we can also see it as a strength.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, because the United States was founded on this idea of welcoming people from all over the world. It was built on immigration. So each wave of immigrants, from the early European settlers to the people coming in today, they all bring something new to the table, and they all contribute to the tapestry of American culture.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we see it everywhere. I mean, think about American food. It's like we got pizza from Italy and we've got dumplings from China and tacos from Mexico. It's all become part of what we think of as American now.
Right. And it's the same with music. I mean, jazz, blues, rock and roll, hip hop, these genres were born out of this fusion of different cultural influences.
Absolutely. Even the holidays we celebrate often incorporate traditions from various backgrounds. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many American families, regardless of their heritage, put up a Christmas tree? That's that's a tradition with German roots.
That's a good point.
So it seems like instead of having one ancient narrative, the U.S. has kind of embraced many, many different narratives and woven them together to create something new and unique. But does that make it harder for Americans to connect with a shared sense of identity?
Well, it's definitely something that Americans have wrestled with, throughout their history. And I think the answer is it's complicated. There might not be that single unifying origin story like we see in Mexico.
Yeah.
But what Americans do share is this set of ideals. Ideas like freedom, individual liberty, the pursuit of happiness. These are the ideas that are enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. And they resonate across cultural backgrounds. They kind of serve as a common thread in the American narrative.
It's fascinating to think about how these two countries with such different histories have developed their own distinct sense of identity. So for you, our listeners, we want to leave you with this. Think about your own family's history. What are the elements? What are the stories? What are the traditions that have shaped your personal sense of identity? Do you feel connected to any specific ancient traditions? Or is your story more of a more recent cultural blend? It's something to think about. And maybe it'll even inspire you to do a little deep dive of your own.
That's a great way to put it. Your own personal deep dive. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another deep dive. Until next time.
See you next time.